Last week, we talked about Christmas. The meaning of the word Christmas means Jesus Christ Mass, means worship Jesus Christ. Christmas is all about Jesus. And this week, we talk about gifts. During Christmas time, we exchange a lot of gifts. We give gifts to others, and we receive gifts. In the song, we heard about this wonderful love, and it is the best gift. He is Jesus Christ. Are we giving God our best gift? This is the theme of this sermon. During Christmas time, a lot of people giving each other's gifts. And there will be a time. The Bible talks about people will give each other gifts. Do you know when? Do you know when? When in the Bible it talks about people will give each other gifts. It was during the 7 years of plague. It's after the first half of the 7 years and going into the second half. Let's read Revelation chapter 11. I means John, the writer of this book. Jesus used him to write this book, but the whole thing is Jesus' revelation. I was given a reed. It's like a measuring rod, so it's like a ruler, and was told. So John was told to go and measure the temple of God and the altar with its worshippers. But exclude the outer court. Do not measure it, because it has been given to the Gentiles. They will trample on the holy city for 42 months. 42 months means the second half of the 7 years of plague. And I will appoint means God will appoint 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days. The 1,260 days means the first 3.5 years, the first part of the 7 years of plague, clothed in sackcloth. Now this is important. If it comes, when it comes, it's not if it comes, it's when it comes, then we know. Now when these 2 witnesses die, people exchange gifts. So some Bible scholars are speculating it could be during Christmas time. It could be a time like this. Verse 4. They are the 2 olive trees and 2 lampstands, and they stand before the Lord of the earth. So they're talking about these 2 guys. They stand before the Lord of God, and they are olive trees, 2 lampstands. They're bright. They're witnessing about Jesus. If anyone tries to harm them, so there will be people try to kill them. What happened? Fire comes from their mouths and devour their enemies. So right before Christmas, it could have these things happening. And this is how anyone who wants to harm them must die. So before that significant Christmas, and that is the beginning of the second half of the 7 years, for the 3.5 years, you will be hearing from CNN or headline news if you're still here. People are there are 2 bad guys in Israel, and then some disaster, fire can come from their mouths, and people are trying to get rid of them. If you hear that, you know you are in the midst of the first half of the 7 years of plague, the last 7 years of our human history. They have the power. And how come now Christmas is such a happy time. How come I'm talking about these sad and disastrous things? Because it's important. And it's about gifts. I don't want people to just live in a time that we just enjoy ourselves. And this is a temporary world. One day, this world will be done. And before it's done, this is how it's going to be like that. They have power to shut up the heavens so that it will not rain during the time they're prophesying. So, do you remember how long they're going to prophesy? 3.5 years. So, can you imagine the world without rain for 3.5 years? And of course, when they die, people will be exchanging gifts like what we are doing during Christmas. They'll be so happy. But how come this loving God, we have just heard the song about his promises. He will not let us go. And he's the best love, the best friend. How come he allowed these kind of things happening? Because the world will be so chaotic, so confusing. People will be telling you that man loves man, woman loves woman are okay, like now. And people will be telling you that sexual orientation, no matter you want to be a guy or a man or a woman, is okay, you can choose, is the opposite of the truth. This world is very confusing. God is good. So he must use something. When we don't, during peaceful time, we don't listen, then he will allow the last resort to happen, disastrous. God is good and he will never fail. And I will share with you a story. Even when we face challenges, when we choose the right path, choose Jesus' love, choose Jesus' way, such as honesty, then God will take care of everything. Just like that song. Those people who have just come in, we will listen to that song again. God is the best love, the best way of life, and he will never let us fall. Let us fall into his hand. Last Friday, I shared with some of my brothers and sisters my school's Christmas party. I was quite happy. And it was a buffet. So what do you do during buffet time? I actually didn't eat much during the day. I was so looking forward to that buffet time. But there was a snowstorm last week, not this week. And I saw a snow boulder almost as tall as me right in front of my house because the government will shovel the snow, right? There will be a snow bank and they somehow accumulate a lot of snow. And when I look, it's almost as tall as I. And I had to separate it 3 times. I, I went out 3 times to eradicate that snow because I needed to go, right? I was so tired after all of that. I dipped myself into a hot tub and then getting ready for the Christmas party. A happy time, eh? But then when I just back up, I was kind of like in a rush. I wanted to be there a little earlier and bang. You never want this to happen during a happy time. Can you guess what happened? I hit a car parked opposite on the curbside on my street. Many people know if you have a car, if you hit someone, if you have to resurface that bump, thousands of dollars. And then just a second of that, and I lost like $1,000, a thousand, 3,000, 5,000, I don't know. But on the street, there was no one, not one soul. The driver wasn't there. No one was on the street. My street doesn't have any surveillance camera. So you know what? Most people on the planet Earth, I guess, do you want to just run thousands of dollars? Or you want to pay? Well, naturally, we all want to be just go because no one sees it, right? Like, how can you tell I did that? I cannot hit and run. No surveillance camera, but God is watching me. So I told myself I cannot hit and run. I went to my car, get a sticky note. I wrote down, I'm sorry when I backed up, I touched your car. Because I still don't know if that bump is mine or is a previous bump. Like how strong it would be. Like a lot of uncertainties. And I was scared, like thousands of dollars. And I put down my name and my phone number. When I put it on this is a sticky note, put it on the window, I even thought, would a big wind blow that off? Then I don't like I have done my best. Like I can face God, but it's just the wind. Maybe God doesn't want me to his servant to pay that thousands of dollars as my Christmas gift. I went to my car and I prayed with a friend, my prayer partner, and we spoke in tongue because I don't know what to pray. I don't know how to pray. So the Holy Spirit led me and helped me. So a lot of people knew that I was a teacher, and then now I'm working in the church. So my salary, went down, and then it's not right to feel that you are poor, right? Because God told me many times I'm better than the Ministry of Education. I'm a better boss. I can provide for you. Trust in me. And then I sensed the Lord was telling me, don't worry. Before you are taken away, before I take you out of this earth, you will still have surplus in your bank. And that money to compensate that will come from that surplus. So don't worry. It doesn't touch your life at all. And then I feel, okay. And my friend who prayed with me said, it's in the middle of the road. It won't go to any extreme. Because how many of you know in this world, people can take advantage of each other? Oh, you're dumb. You give me your phone number and stuff. I can say, you also hurt my car this way and damage that. And then make the bill so huge, unreasonably huge, right? I don't know, who that guy or girl is, but I just need to do the right thing. So when you don't know, you just choose Jesus' path. Jesus will take the responsibility for you. Will take up the rest. He will not let you fall. Facing a lot of uncertainties, arriving at the party, I share with people, share with friends, and then say, I'm so proud of you. I said, wow, it's kind of like I got a certificate of merit from my friend. And then some other people also share their experience. I got a happy time. I ate a big meal. The sad things turn into happy things. And afterwards, you know what happened? At about 9:30, I had a Bible study at home on Zoom. After the party, I went home and then I thought, yeah, I'm so glad I did that. Being honest. Because if I'm not honest, how can you lead the Bible study? How can I stand here and, and read aloud God's word? How can I lead the Bible study? I'd rather losing those thousands of dollars. I still want to be God's servant because heaven is my home. This earth, even if you get your Canadian citizenship, even if you get what you think you really wanted, it can never satisfy your heart because only Jesus can satisfy people's heart. Nowadays, our world is talking about LGBTQ, but it still cannot satisfy anyone's heart. Not a good job, not a good friend, not a good house, not a good car. Only Jesus Christ. And Christmas is a time telling you that Christ is the best gift. In this world, a lot of times we have temptation to be dishonest. We have booths. During Christmas time, a lot of advertisement. People want you to sign up for this, sign up for that. They give you gifts. But sometimes it's so tempting. I don't want that, but I still want the gift. So I can fake my phone number. I can just fake it. In this world, you can fake many things to get more material things, but the material things will become garbage one day. It doesn't satisfy a human soul. Only Jesus can. So you give up your old self during this Christmas and give your whole self to Jesus as your best gift. And you will never regret. Because a lot of people who were in the LGBTQ, they changed. They have Jesus. They even saw Jesus. They have to give up their lifestyle. They had no sex partner, only Jesus, but they were happier. And there are some bumps and hurdles, but they still hang on to this Jesus. In the past, when they were in the LGBTQ, they said, no bread, no love. Okay, so bad bread, the LGBTQ love, is better than no love. So that's why they chose to be in that part, in that crowd. But when they know Jesus, this is the best gift. Today is Christmas. It is the best gift. And if you open your heart, attempt, take out those like the worldly stuff. Be honest. Choose God's way. Even if you work part-time or work summer camp or work whatever, give your 1/10 to God. God will prosper you. Walk on His way. You will never regret. God will give you even more. When you give up some human love, but it's wrong love, God will give you more love and more satisfaction. When you give up money, when you give up whatever you think is, I really want your dreams or whatever, but it's not Jesus' way. You choose Jesus' way, Jesus will prosper you even more. Back to my example. That person happened to be my new neighbor. They just moved in within this year. I didn't know them. He seems to be a very nice, gentle, reasonable guy. Got to know him. He allowed me to try my own quotation. I got a very, very good deal. Like uh, almost half of that original quote. And then when I asked the church, because of the inflation, can I have a little bit more money? And the church gave me even more. And that more, after my 1/10, my tithes, is exactly what I'm going to pay to that garage to fix that. So it's really out of my surplus. God is right. When you choose His way, today is Christmas. Have you given God your best gift? Give God yourself as a living sacrifice. Walk on Jesus' way. You will never regret. And James, the neighbor whose car I crushed, we became very good friends. Afterwards, we sat down for coffee and we chatted for like 2 hours. He's a Buddhist, but he said, "Oh wow!" After I told him about my stories, how my father met Jesus, he said, "I also want to attend your church." So he came online to our Friday Bible study. It was fantastic. God has given me more than I expected. So in my in my heavenly home, not only my friends say I'm proud of you, in my heavenly home, I also got God's gift. Remembering I have chosen Him instead of money. I've chosen Him instead of my way. God is the best gift. When you choose His way, you will receive the best gift, much better than this world can give. So now let's go back to chapter 11. Now, in verse 6, these two guys, the two witnesses, they have power to shut up the heavens so that it will not rain during the time they are prophesying. And they have power to turn the waters into blood. Moses did that. So one of them is Moses. And to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they want. Because Jesus need to knock our head. During this peaceful time, we don't want to go to Him. We're blinded by this worldly culture, which is going closer and closer to the devils. God allowed these plagues to wake us up because the consequence of not following Jesus, of not giving Him the best of ourselves, would be hellish, lake of fire or outside of heaven for not only 100 years, that's the most you can live on earth, 100 million thousand years. And He also have assurance, knowing when you give it up, He has even the best way of life for you on earth. That's why He loves you, but He allows plagues, disaster to wake you up to follow Him. Jesus will never let you go. He is the best gift. Please trust Him. Trust Him during this Christmas time. Give yourself as the best gift. for God. You give people gifts. Give God gifts today. Give God yourself. Verse 7. Now when they have finished their testimony, now God has time for everything. These two witnesses finished. The beast, the Antichrist, the world's political leader will come up from the abyss, will attack them and overpower and kill them. They are servants of God. How come God allow them to be killed? Because God will allow a time of test for you and for me. Are you really truly follower of Jesus? Then show me, God said. When there is an evil dominating, are you following the world, the devil, or me? Show me before God comes and show everyone that He is the maker of the earth. There's a time of darkness, but don't be afraid. If you walk on Jesus' path, God is the same yesterday, today, and the future. He is more powerful. He will be able to rescue you even during this time. Call out to Jesus. But why don't you give God your best gift now? So these two witnesses will die, and their bodies lie in the public square of the great city, which is figuratively called Sodom and Egypt. That means the sinful city. Sodom has a lot of, today we call LGBTQ people. So at that time, the whole culture of the world will be like Sodom's culture, the worldly culture, not following Christ. All of your friends, most of the people on the earth will be walking devil's way. Are you going to follow them? Or are you going to choose Jesus instead of this worldly stuff? This is a test. Whatever you study, there will be a test. The best way is to do it now. Choose Jesus. Then you will be stronger. And during that time, you will not fail if you are left behind. And a lot of people will be here and seeing all these things. That's why during this such a happy time, Christmas, I have to tell you some seemingly disaster. But it's not disaster when you choose Jesus. Just like my story, I crushed my neighbor's car during such a happy party time, but it turned out like it was my best day during this Christmas break, meeting James and bringing him to the Bible study. For 3.5 days, some from every people, tribe, language, and nation will gaze on their bodies and refuse them burial. Can you imagine? 2 people die, but people hate them so much, they don't even want to bury them. People from all nations, all languages, no matter you're speaking German, Italian, Spanish, Chinese, Vietnamese, Russians, they will all gaze at him. Do you know why? Because we have CNN, we have technology, we have satellite TV. Everyone will watch them on their cell phones or whatever devices. The inhabitants of the earth will gloat over them and will celebrate by sending each other gifts. 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 Everybody loved gifts. Everybody loved gifts. They're happy that these 2 witnesses die. These 2 prophets tormented them who live on the earth. I hope at that time you will be running to God's umbrella, withstanding the worldly temptation, not taking up the 666 mark. Because at that time there will be a financial system so good, so convenient. Without that, the mark on your right hand or on your forehead, you cannot buy, you cannot have a career. It's like you need to give up everything. But give it up to God now. Then at that time you will have the best chance of winning. It will happen. Maybe it's a Christmas like this. And people will give each other gifts. But don't do that. Don't stand, don't bang with the world because you're going to pay when you don't follow God. Now, back to my example. I crushed my neighbor's cars last week. If I did not put that sticky note, if was not honest, what would happen to me? Yeah, I won't pay that $900 to fix that car, but what is $900? God already paid that up for me, right? So it is actually the cheapest way, like in human term, to follow God. Okay, but let's say I did not. I just ran. I hit and run. I will always consciously thinking about that and feel guilty. I maybe one day the neighbor will just ding dong ring my bell and ask me, "Do you know anything? Like my car is like that." And then I have to make up another lie. Hey, I'm a Christian. I have to lie again and again to cover up my previous lies. That's like torture. You know what? You and I are made in the image of God. When we are away from our God's DNA, away from Christian living, we feel torture. Because, do you know why? Because we have conscience. It's the Spirit of God. God will tell you that it's not right. And when you're doing things, you're living, but you're not doing the things accordingly, that's guilt. And then afterwards, you may say, shut up, kind of like telling your conscience to shut up. Then you will, it's like you hurt yourself, you have collapse. You cut again, you lie again, cut again, cut again. Then your skin will become very thick. You won't be so sensitive to sins anymore. Then on the day of that Christmas, the Antichrist is going to come. You will just follow the crowd and get your 666 and follow the crowd, and you will be crying forever, eternity in front of God, because this is going to come and God will have judgment. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Let's have this wisdom and let's give God our living sacrifice, our old self, as our best gift for Him. I'm going to just finish that up. At that time, at that very hour, there was a severe, so when they, oh, sorry. Let me start again from 11. But after the 3.5 days, the breath of life from God entered these two witnesses, and they stood on their feet. That means they came back to life, and they're standing. Because who gives life? Who gives you life? Who make you breathing? Who make you, like, everything is working? You have your Christmas buffet, and then, well, your digestive system is working. Who makes that work? God of life. So God can give them back life anytime, just at the appointed time of God, because God has everything in His hand. They stood on their feet and terror struck those who saw them. If you see it on CNN, you, I thought they died. And we were exchanging gifts to celebrate that. And also it's Christmas. Verse 12. Then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud. Which one would you prefer? You want to be the person who is exchanging gifts, or you'll be like those who are following Jesus and pass the test of faith? And God is raising them up and give them eternal glory. And they went up to heaven in a cloud while their enemies looked. The true God appears. At that very hour, there was a severe earthquake. Severe earthquake. Even though when you follow the world, you got your 666, you could die in the earthquake. And a tenth of the city collapsed. If you didn't die in the earthquake, you probably die because, a lot of buildings will just fall down. 7,000 people were killed in the earthquake, and the survivors were terrified and gave glory to the God of heaven. God is real. Follow Jesus today as your best gift you can give to Him. Then He doesn't need to use this to wake you up. Wake up now, today, as your best gift for Him. Love thy God. Thy means your. Love thy God. Give up thy old self to God, your insistence, as your best gift to Him. Trusting Him that He will take care of you when you follow Him. Just like how I did when I crushed my neighbor's cars. He took care of the finance. He took care of my heart. He took care of everything. And I win even another friend.